Hello Riza, good evening and welcome to class. Am I audible? Riza, can you hear me? Good evening Shakil. Welcome to class. So I hope I'm audible to two of you. Okay, Riza, can you hear me? Alright. So today we are going to study about indemnity and guarantee, contracts of indemnity and guarantee. Okay. So since this is the class of business law, so we'll be discussing about this today. And if you remember, in one of the previous classes we have discussed about contingent contracts. So that is also a special type of contract. So this contract of indemnity and guarantee is also a special class of contract. It falls under a special category. Okay. So we'll start with the contract of indemnity. We'll be starting with that. So you understand the meaning of the word indemnity? To indemnify means to make good the loss of other person. Okay. So indemnity is one of the essential characteristics of any contract. There has to be a promise by one party to make good the loss of other party. So that is what indemnity means. So every contract that is entered into is a contract of indemnity except life insurance contract. Why is life insurance not a contract of indemnity? Shakil and Riza, could you answer this question? Why is life insurance not a contract of indemnity? Shakil. Shakil, are you there? Shyam, good evening, welcome to class. Are you a new student, Shyam? Am I audible to you? Shyam? Okay. So my question is, why is life insurance contract not a contract of indemnity? It is not a contract of indemnity, because indemnity means to make good the loss of one person. So if there is in a life insurance contract, the contract is made for against the life security of a person. So we cannot make good the loss of life of somebody. So that is why life insurance contracts are not the contracts of indemnity, and all the other contracts are contracts of indemnity. Okay, because we cannot make good the loss of life of a person. That is why. So we'll be first studying about the contract of indemnity. So let's see what does that mean. So what is a contract of indemnity? It is a contract by which, hello Shyam, Shyam, am I audible to you? Shyam, can you hear me? Yes, Shakil. I'm just coming to that. So like a contract of indemnity is a contract by which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself, or by the conduct of any other person. So it's like in case one party. Hello Darshana, good evening, welcome to class. So today we are discussing about contracts of indemnity and contracts of guarantee. Okay, so this is another special kind of a contract. We have discussed about contingent contracts in the previous classes. So this is in continuation to that only. Okay, this is contract of indemnity. So every contract is a contract of indemnity except life insurance, because in life insurance the loss of life cannot be indemnified. We cannot make good the loss of life of a person. Okay, so this is the definition for the contract of indemnity. Now the example says, now Mr. A contracts with the government to return to India from abroad after completing his studies and serve the government for a fixed period. Okay, Shyam, you need to log out. Good evening, Rishi. You are a little late today. Shyam, please log out and log in again. Okay, then you'll be able to hear. Okay, so all right, Rishi. I hope it's fine at your end now. So we can just continue. So the example says there is Mr. A. Mr. A has contracted with the government that after like completing his studies, he is going to return to India and serve the government for a fixed period. Then he fails to return to India. This is a contract of indemnity and he is bound to reimburse the government. Okay, so this is a contract of indemnity. He is not able to fulfill his contract, his words, so he will have to reimburse to the government of India. Now let us see some other examples. So in this type of contract, the person who promises to make good the loss, that is the promiser, is called the indemnifier. Okay, like in that example, Mr. A was the indemnifier because he promised to make good the loss. And what was the loss? Like he promised to serve the government of India. So that he was the indemnifier in that case. And the person whose loss is to be made good, that is the promisee, is called the indemnity holder or the person who is indemnified. Okay, Shakil? Is there a problem with the slide? Can all of you see it properly? Okay. It's visible to everyone else? Darshana, Rishi, Shyam, everybody? Okay. Alright. So, he is the indemnifier, and the person whose loss is to be made good, that person is called the indemnity holder. Like in this case, the government of India is the indemnity holder because their loss will be made good by Mr. A. So, by a contract of indemnity, a security is provided to the promisee against any anticipated loss. Okay, that is the basic purpose of entering into such type of contracts. So to indemnify means to save from loss. Just a minute. Okay, I'll take you to this one. This is a better slide. Okay. So what is a contract of indemnity? It is a contract by which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself or by the conduct of any other person. It's called the contract of indemnity. Now, taking the example, after this we'll go to the example. So the person who promises is the indemnifier, and the person whose loss is to be made good is the indemnity holder. Okay. Yeah, here is the example. A lost his share certificates. He applied to the company for the issue of duplicate certificate. The company asked A to furnish an indemnity bond to protect the company against any claim that may be made by any person on the original certificates. Okay, like A has lost his shares, so he has lost his certificates, so he is asking the company to reissue a certificate. So the company asks him to bring an indemnity bond because in case the original certificate has been stolen or it is in possession of someone else, then in one fine day that person may just come to the company and claim the amount. So to avoid that situation, the company asks A to get the indemnity bond. So in this case, Mr. A is the indemnifier. He is promising that nothing wrong is going to happen, and company that is B is the indemnity holder, is the party that has been assured of the assured by Mr. A. Okay, so company is the indemnity holder. All right, is it clear? The meaning of indemnity, contract of indemnity, everybody? Riza says yes. What about others? Okay, Shakil says yes. Shyam, Rishi, Darshana. Okay, yeah, sure. You want to read that example? Just read that, Shakil. I'll hold it for a while and then we'll go to the next one. So are you all ready for the match tomorrow, India versus Pakistan? This is the example one, Shakil, if I'm right. The example. So this is the first example. Okay. Is that fine, Shakil? Or you want this slide? Which one? Okay. So all set for the cricket match tomorrow, India versus Pakistan, big match. Okay. So who's your favorite? Okay, Darshana says India. But of late they haven't been performing really well, isn't it? Yes. But we have to keep our hopes high, and Indian team is such that they do well under the pressure games. So they might just turn out with flying colors tomorrow. Let's hope that. And moreover, they have a very good record against Pakistan in the World Cup. They haven't lost a single match yet. So let's hope the tradition continues. Okay. Now this is the second example. So this says the receipt pertaining to certain goods is lost B while traveling through Indian Railways. Okay, B lost a receipt. Now A claims the goods from railway company. A is the one who found it and he claimed the goods. So the railway company asked A to give an indemnity bond. So A gets the goods. So in this case, A is the indemnifier and railway company is the indemnity holder. Okay. Now later, B, the real owner, sues the railway company. He sues the company because they are not paying him the claim and that should have been paid to him. Now the company can claim indemnity from A for the loss caused by his conduct. Okay. So now they can ask A to, the railway company, they can ask A to make good the loss that has been incurred. Yes, am I audible? Raiza, Darshana, Rishi, Shyam, can you all hear me? Okay, Shakil, others can hear me? Okay, Shakil can also hear now. Alright. So this is the example. Now, what next? Now, what are the rights of the indemnity holder? So, indemnity holder is the party who is like protected by the person who is giving the promise. So, what are their rights? All damages which he may be compelled to pay in any suit in respect of any matter to which the promise to indemnify applies. Okay, they will be paid the damages for any case in which they are sued. Like in the previous example, the railway company was sued by Mr. B, the original holder of the certificates. So, in that case, the railway company can ask for the damages incurred from Mr. A and Mr. A will make good the loss. Okay. So, all costs which he may be compelled to pay in defending such suit provided he acted prudently or with the authority of the indemnifier. Yes. Like in the previous example, if the railway company has to hire a lawyer and the legal proceedings will take place, so they will obviously incur some kind of losses, some kind of costs. So that cost will be made good by Mr. A because he has given an indemnity bond. So all sum which he may have paid upon compromise of such suits provided the compromise was not contrary to the order of the indemnifier and was prudent or was authorized by the indemnifier. So it means the same thing. The act should be a prudent one and then he can get the amount and he can claim the amount from the other party. Now let us go to the second part, but before that let us complete indemnity in this one, okay, and then we will go to guarantee, the second part of the topic. So what are the essentials of a contract of indemnity? First, it must contain all the essentials of a valid contract. You understand that valid contract, an agreement is a contract only if it is considered so by the law. So it should have all the essentials of the contract. Then promisee must have suffered a loss. That is important. One who is making a promise to indemnify the other party. One who is making the promise to who is getting the promise should have suffered a loss. So what are the rights of the indemnity holder? So indemnity holder is the promisee. He is the one who is given a promise by the other party for the loss and the compensation. So he is entitled to recover from the promisor the damages, the costs, all sums, and sued for specific performance. He is entitled to recover these things. Mainly he can recover the damage, the cost, and other expenses which he is incurring or other losses which he is suffering because of this contract. So he can get those from the promisee. Alright. So far the things are clear to you? Okay. So now let's discuss about the contract of guarantee. Now what is a contract of guarantee? It's a very simple term. We see a contract of guarantee normally when we talk with reference to banks. When a loan is taken from a bank, then the bank always asks you to bring a guarantor, isn't it? You cannot get a loan from the bank without a guarantor. So that is a contract of guarantee. Now what is that? Let's see. So it is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of his default. Like there are three parties. I'll show you. Like there are three parties, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C. Okay. Now Mr. C sells goods to Mr. B, and that is a credit sale. You understand the meaning of credit sale? Credit sale means the amount will be paid later on, not immediately. Yes. So goods are sold by C to B on a credit. Now Mr. C, he doesn't know Mr. B. He is not like personally he is not in term with Mr. B. So what he can do is he can ask Mr. B to bring a guarantor. Only then he says, I'm going to sell the goods to you. If not, I will not trade with you. I will not sell my goods to you. So Mr. B comes then and he says, okay, Mr. A is my guarantor. Mr. A is my guarantor. Okay. I'm writing in short form. He is my guarantor. So in this case, in case Mr. B fails to make the payment to C on time, Mr. C can go to A and recover the amount from him. Okay. So there are basically three parties involved in a contract of guarantee. So what are the names of these three parties? Now Mr. C. C is the, who is C? He is the creditor. Yeah, he is the creditor. You understand that? So he is party number 1. He is the creditor. Now what about Mr. B? Who is Mr. B? Mr. B is the second party and he is the debtor. He is the debtor. He is the one in whose name the debt has been raised. So he is the debtor, or we can say the principal debtor. He is the main debtor. He is the one on whose performance the contract is based. Yes, he is the liable party, the principal liable party, we can say. Then comes Mr. A. Now who is Mr. A? Mr. A is the third party and he is the guarantor for Mr. B. So now who is the primary debtor in this case, or means the primary liable party, as quoted by Shakil. Who is the primary liable party? Mr. B. Yes, Mr. B holds the primary liability of making the payment. Mr. A's liability is secondary. It will arise only in case of failure by Mr. B. Okay. So this contract of guarantee is again a contract of contingent nature. Now, can you tell me the meaning of the of contingent contract? We discussed this some classes back. So, if you can just tell me what is a contingent contract and how is it applicable to this contract? Contingent contract. What is the meaning of the word contingent? Anybody? All are making nice guesses, but that is not the real term. I'm just drinking water. You think. Okay. So it's a contract of contingent nature. Contingent contracts are the contracts which are based on the happening of a certain event. Okay. They are bound by a condition. There is a condition that is collateral to such contracts. Yes, Raisa, if B makes a failure, then money will be paid by A. So this is also a collateral or contingent contract. It is a condition bound contract. A's liability will arise only in case of failure by Mr. B, who is the primary debtor in this case. Okay. So all the rules of contingent contracts are applicable to contracts of guarantee as well. Okay. Let's just get back to the slide. So what is this? It's a contract. A contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of the third person in case of his default. And the most popular or the most commonly seen example is that of a bank. So A advances a loan of 5,000 to B and C promises to A that if B doesn't repay the loan, C will do so. This is a contract of guarantee. So that is why it is said that it's a very crucial decision to become a guarantor in case of a bank loan of a party. If you are becoming the guarantor, then you also have a liability on yourself. In case the party fails to make to pay the installment timely, then you can also be held on by the bank. Shyam, yeah. But if people will think like this, then who is going to help the others? So we have to be prudent. We have to think on human grounds as well. So that's why. So in this in this case, the parties are they all have got a different name. So as we have seen, so we know this is principal debtor, he is principal creditor, and Mr. A. Mr. A is known as the surety. Okay, he is the surety to the contract. The legal term for A is surety. All right. So the person who gives the guarantee is called the surety. The person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given is the principal debtor, and the person to whom the guarantee is given is called the creditor. So what are the essentials of a valid guarantee contract? First, a contract of guarantee must satisfy all the essential elements of a contract. That is important. Then it is a tripartite agreement. So one is the principal debtor and the creditor. Second is the creditor and the surety. And the third between principal debtor and surety. Okay. It is a in this one contract, actually there are three contracts. So the first contract is between Mr. C and Mr. B, the direct contract. Then there is a contract between Mr. A and B. And then there is a contract between A and C as well. Isn't it? Just a second, I'm getting an important call. I'll just take a minute. Just a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I just forgot that I didn't open the mic and I was continuously speaking. Yeah, so there are two questions. Between A and C, what kind of contract? Shakil, A and C, they are dependent on the action of B. So indirectly, they are also bound by a contract. There is a hidden contract between A and C. Okay? In case anything goes wrong on the part of B, it will be A and C who will deal with each other. So that is one way. Okay. Then Shyam has asked, can surety ask for indemnity from B? No, Shyam, surety cannot ask for indemnity because contract of guarantee and indemnity cannot go together. And if B is in a position to guarantee A that I will make good your loss, then why will he need a guarantor? He will not need a guarantor if he is sound enough, isn't it? So then there will be no need for a guarantor. Alright? So am I audible to you all? I'm not getting the response. Okay. So now, next. So in guarantee, the primary liability is of a principal debtor. The liability of surety arises only in the case of default by the principal debtor. Okay. Is it loaded? Is it done? No? But Raisa is saying yes. Shakil? Shakil, can you see now? Okay. So this is what we have discussed. So contract of guarantee is invalid where guarantee has been obtained by means of misrepresentation made by the creditor. So that is a very important point. But again, in the court of law, you have to prove it that there was misrepresentation by the creditor. Only then you can get the legal things in your favor. So now what is the difference between indemnity and guarantee? So in indemnity, there are just two parties. One is the indemnifier and the indemnity holder. In guarantee, there are three parties. Then there is only one contract. It was between indemnifier and indemnity holder. But in guarantee, there are three contracts between debtor and creditor that we have discussed. The liability of the indemnifier is primary. The liability of the surety is secondary, and it arises only if the principal debtor fails to perform his obligations. Okay? So this is pretty clear to us now. Any doubts, anybody? Darshna? Shyam? Okay. Then next, the liability of the indemnifier arises only on the happening of the contingency. Okay. So we can say a contract of indemnity is more of a contingent nature if compared with a guarantee contract. A contract of guarantee is of legal nature. There is an existing legal debt, the performance of which is guaranteed by the surety. Okay. So we can say indemnity is a contract of contingent nature. Like A will make good the loss of B in case of the happening of the event. Like in case if his warehouse catches fire, then A will pay the amount to B. So there is a contingency involved. So the indemnifier acts independently without any request of the debtor or the third party. So under guarantee, it is necessary that surety should give guarantee at the request of the debtor. Yes, debtor is the one who introduces the surety to the third party, the bank or whatever. The indemnifier can't sue the third party for loss or in his own name. Then surety, after discharging the debt, can sue the principal debtor. This is the point which Shyam was asking. Once the debt is discharged, he will have to pay the amount, and only after the payment of that amount he is going to sue the principal debtor. Okay? Shyam, is that clear now? Okay. Then indemnity is for reimbursement of the loss. The contract of guarantee is for the surety of debt. Yes, we have to make the payment. So only payment is the point of consideration in a contract of guarantee. But indemnity can be of any kind. Now let's see the nature and extent of surety's liability. So the liability of the surety is secondary, that we have discussed. He is liable only on default of the principal debtor. Rafiq, good evening. Welcome to class. You are a little late today. In fact, very late today. You are late by 40 minutes. Were you busy celebrating Valentine's Day? Where were you? Okay. So the liability of, alright, there was net problem. So the liability of the surety arises immediately on the default of the principal debtor unless there is a provision in the contract that the creditor must first proceed against principal debtor or must give a notice of default to surety. Okay. So as soon as the debtor will make a fault, then the liability of surety will arise. But if the contract is having a special provision, like the creditor must first proceed against the principal debtor, so in that case, the provision can be a little relaxed. The liability of surety may not arise immediately, but that is not really applicable or practically seen. Then the creditor holds the security from principal debtor for his debt. The creditor need not first resort to those securities before suing the surety. Okay. Surety is not liable if guarantee has been obtained by misrepresentation. Discussed. Surety is liable even if the principal debtor has been discharged, like principal debtor being discharged. Means the surety has to pay the amount to the principal creditor. Now there are two types of guarantee, ordinary and continuing. What is this ordinary guarantee? It is given for a specific debt or transaction. It is for a single contract. Okay. And continuing guarantee is, it extends to a series of distinct and separable transactions. It is a continuing guarantee. This type of guarantee you can see in the case of this, when the goods are shipped from one country to another. So in that case, there can be an example of continuing guarantee, because like we have the policies, the marine insurance policies, which are time bound. The policy is taken for 1 year. So in that 1 year, as many times the ship is going to move from one deck to another, the insurance coverage will be provided. It can be 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, whatever. And similarly, guarantee can be also of that nature. The guarantee is for 1 year. So in 1 year, as many times the transaction is made, the guarantee will be owned by the surety. Okay. An ordinary guarantee is the guarantee in the case of a bank, when the guarantee is given just for a single loan which has been taken by principal debtor. Okay. Now, what are the guarantee? When can the guarantee be discharged? Means it may come to end. Yes, Shyam, that's a floating policy. Okay. So, in the case of notice of revocation, in case a notice has been given, then in the case of death of the surety. Okay, Rafi, that's really good. So you have a floater policy, you offer that to the public. Alright. Then in case the surety dies, then there is the variation of contract. If the terms and conditions are changed over a period of time, then we have the option of changing the debtor also. The surety also. Then release or discharge of principal debtor. Loss of security. Then creditors act or commission impairing security's eventual remedy by composition with the principal debtor. Okay, Rafiq. That was nothing to explain, so I just moved forward. Now, what are the rights of surety against the creditor? He has the rights to benefits of the creditor's security and rights to claim set off if any. Means he can recover the amount in the passage of time. So what are his rights against the principal debtor? This is very important. He has the right of subrogation and right of claim indemnity. Now this right of subrogation is like he can ask the debtor. You understand the meaning of subrogation? Subrogation means putting yourself in the same position in which you were before the happening of that event. So he has that right from against the principal debtor, and he has the right to claim the indemnity amount from the person. Then liabilities of co-surety when there can be more than one guarantors in a contract. So in that contract, we'll say there is a co-surety. So liabilities of co-surety when contributing equally, when the co-sureties have agreed to guarantee different sums. So he can recover the balance amount from the co-surety. That is the basic provision of this right. Okay. So now, 1 minute. Okay. So here is the written note to this. Okay. You can just read it. So it's just a revision. So what is an indemnity contract? It is a contract where one party promises to save the other from any loss caused to him by the conduct of promisor himself or any other person is called a contract of indemnity. So there are basically two parties, indemnifier and indemnity holder. So the person who is promising to pay compensation is the indemnifier, that is discussed, and the person whose loss is compensated is called the indemnity holder. Now here is an example. I hope it's visible to everybody. Whiteboard is visible to you all, everyone? Okay. So in this example, what is there? There is a contract between X and Y according to which X has to sell a tape recorder to Y after 3 months. Okay, and it is a selected piece. It is of a particular make. On the next day of their contract, Z has come to X and has insisted on selling the same tape recorder to him. Okay. Now here Z is promising to compensate X for any loss faced by X due to selling the tape recorder to Z. So over here Z is the indemnifier. He is promising to make good the loss of X. So X agrees to this. Now the contract which has got formed between X and Z is called the indemnity contract, where Z is the indemnifier and X is the indemnity holder. Okay, as we saw in the case of railway company and Mr. B, the finder of the share certificates. So that is about contract of indemnity. Now what is this guarantee contract? It is a contract to perform the obligation or to discharge the liability of a third party in case of its default and is called the contract of guarantee. This is the section in which the Indian Contract Act is covering this. So guarantee contract includes three parties, namely creditor, principal debtor and surety. So the person who is granting the loan, the person who is utilizing the amount of loan is the principal debtor, and the person who is giving the guarantee is the surety or the guarantor or the favored debtor. These are new terms. Okay, he can also be known as favored debtor. In case of guarantee contract, there will be two types of liabilities, namely primary liability and secondary liability. The primary liability will be the of the principal debtor and secondary will be to surety, that we already know and have discussed. Now here is an example. Y is in need of 10,000. Upon guarantee by Z, Y has got the amount from X. So in this case, X, Y and Z are, X is the creditor, Y is the principal debtor, he is getting the amount, and Z is the surety, he is giving the guarantee. Now what are the difference between the two types of contracts? That has been mentioned. So you can read it and please read it, and then I'll show you a video that also has the same thing. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll show you a small video and then we can wind up the class. Alright. Please watch the video. So this brings us to the end of that video. Yeah, it's finished, Riza, and it brings us to the end of the class as well. I'll not take up any new topic. So let's meet up in the next class. I think your next class will fall on Thursday. So see you all on Thursday, and make sure you are in time to attend the class. So otherwise you may just miss out on important points. Alright. So see you all on Thursday. Good night. Bye. Take care. Thanks for your time, everybody. And please fill the feedback form which you will be getting at the end of the class. Everybody, please, thanks for your time. Do take good care of yourselves. Enjoy your week ahead. Enjoy tomorrow's match and best of luck to all of you. Okay then. Bye. See you. Yeah. Thank you. Same to you all. Shakil, no, who has asked? Shyam. Shyam, that depends on the schedule which is being made. So I'll be taking this thing into consideration that we include business law classes in frequently. Okay. Thanks for the suggestion. I'll take care of that in the next month's schedule. Okay. Bye. Bye everybody. Good night.